Today's topic is study of the nervous system. So neuroanatomy is the study of the structural aspects of the nervous system. Nervous system is divided into central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. This is the central nervous system. This is consisting of the brain and the spinal cord. And brain consists of cerebrum, its midbrain, pons, and medulla. And these three, midbrain, pons, and medulla, constitute the brain stem, and also the cerebellum. So this is brain, the cerebellum, cerebrum, and the brain stem, midbrain, pons, and medulla are present. And also the spinal cord, which extends from the lower aspect of the medulla oblongata to the L1 vertebra in the adult. And this is the peripheral nervous system, consists of the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves, the 12 pairs of the cranial nerves and the 31 pairs of the spinal nerves. So protection of the central nervous system is provided by these structures, that is outermost to the nervous system are the meninges, the spinal meninges in this case. This is the cut section of the spinal cord. So innermost is the pia mater, then is the arachnoid mater, and then is the dura mater. These are the meninges. And also is second protection is a subarachnoid space containing the CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. And outer to that is a bony frame, which in this case of the spinal cord is a vertebral canal. So this is the case here in the spinal cord. And there are present gray and white matter, and you could see this is the spinal cord. In the center is this H-shaped tissue, which is the gray matter, and this is the white matter. This is gray matter consisting of the nerve cell bodies, and the white matter consists of the nerve fibers. So then is the autonomic nervous system. It is concerned with the innervation of the involuntary structures, such as the heart, smooth muscle, and glands within the body. It has two parts, sympathetic and parasympathetic. So sympathetic prepares body for an emergency. So parasympathetic conserves and restores energy. So parts of the brain as developing from the brain vesicle are the prosencephalon, the mesencephalon, and rhombencephalon. These are the three parts, and this is the forebrain. And it develops into telencephalon and diencephalon. Telencephalon develops into cerebral cortex and corpus striatum. And the diencephalon gives rise to thalamus and hypothalamus. And this is mesencephalon, from it develops a midbrain. And from the rhombencephalon, or the hindbrain, develops a pons, medulla, and the cerebellum. Then we have to study what is the definition of a neuron. Neuron is a specialized cells that constitute the functional units of the nervous system. They are excitable and carry impulses rapidly from one part of the body to the other. So they are the special cells in the nervous system, the neurons. So the supporting tissue in the nervous system are the neuroglia. So neuron consists of a cell body and axon and dendroids. These are the neurites, axons and the dendroids. You could see the structure. This is the cell body with the nucleus and the nucleolus. And these are the processes, branching tree-like process, the dendroids. And this is the axon. It's a long, slender process, one single here. This is the axon, and at axon at the end has the terminal boutons, and here the synapses are formed. Here you could see this. So synapse is a combination of a one nerve terminal with the other, with a synaptic cleft in between, where the neurotransmitter is released, which carries the impulse. And this is the mechanism. So this is the dendroids. They receive the impulse. They are at the receiving end. And this is the axon. It carries the impulse away from this body of the neuron. So this is the axon hillock. This is a swelling at the, there is a start of this axon. And there are nisal granules not shown here, which are present for the along side of the dendroids, which contain the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The types of the neurons. This is pseudo unipolar. The pseudo unipolar, they have the only one pole, and from that same pole arises the axon and the dendroids. This is axon and this is dendroid. And then is a bipolar. The two poles, from one arise this dendroids and the one from arises the axon. And this is the multipolar, the many poles. This is the multipoles rising, giving rise to the dendroids, and this from this part arises the axon. This is the multipolar. So peripheral nerve fibers are classified according to function. They can be efferent or afferent. Efferent are the motor fibers. They carry impulses from the central nervous system to the effector organs like the skeletal muscles. And the afferent fibers are the sensory fibers. They take impulses from the sensory effector organs to the central nervous system. So this is according to the area of innervation. They are further classified into somatic afferent, somatic efferent, visceral afferent, and the visceral efferent fibers. Somatic afferent take impulses from the joints, muscles, and bones to the central nervous system. The somatic efferent bring the impulses from the central nervous system to the muscles, for example. And the visceral afferent take the impulses from the viscera to the central nervous system, like heart. And this is a visceral efferent. They take the impulses from the central nervous system to the viscera. According to the diameter and velocity of the conduction, they're divided into A, B, and C type, which are the unmyelinated. So that is the presence of the myelin sheath. Could be myelinated fibers and the unmyelinated. Myelin sheath functions. It increases the velocity of the conduction. It reduces the energy expended in the process of conduction. It is responsible for the color of the white matter of the brain and spinal cord. So the neuroglia, the various types, here in this picture you could see, they are like ependyma, like they line the ventricles. They are the ependyma. Then the microglia, the smallest cells, and they are responsible for phagocytosis. Then the astrocytes, they provide nourishment, and they also form the blood-brain barrier with the capillaries. And then this is the responsibility of the Schwann cells and the oligodendrocytes for the formation of the myelin sheath. In the peripheral nervous system, Schwann cells form the myelin sheath. And in the central nervous system, oligodendrocytes form the myelin sheath. So synapse. The synapse transmits an impulse only in one direction. The two elements taking part in a synapse can therefore be spoken of as a presynaptic and postsynaptic. So the neurotransmitter is a chemical which is released into the synaptic cleft. Synapse is a basically union of one excitable cell neuron to the another, which contains the space. It's a synaptic cleft where the neurotransmitter is released, which is the responsible for generation of the action potential, which can be excitatory or inhibitory. So these are the list of the important neurotransmitters: acetylcholine, adrenaline, noradrenaline, dopamine, histamine, serotonin, gamma-aminobutyric acid, GABA, glutamate, glycine, and aspartate. So the major division of the peripheral nervous system: the cranial nerves, the 12 pairs, which leave the brain and pass through foramina in the skull. And the spinal nerves, 31 pairs, and their associated ganglia, which leave the spinal cord and pass through intervertebral foramina in the vertebral column. They are 8 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacral, and 1 coccygeal. There are 7 cervical vertebrae, but 8 cervical nerves. There are 4 coccygeal vertebrae, but only 1 coccygeal nerve. So this picture, you see this is brain and this is spinal cord. These two form the central nervous system. And here is shown the part of the peripheral nervous system. This contains the cervical segments. This is C8, and this is thoracic segment T1 to T12 spinal segments, and the lumbosacral part, which is the 5 lumbar, sacral, and 1 coccygeal. And you could see the list: 8 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacral, 1 coccygeal. And this is the end of the spinal cord here, which we'll study later on. So ganglion definition. The definition of a ganglion is a collection of the nerve cells, with the surrounding neuroglia outside the central nervous system. This is called a ganglion. The various types, like this dorsal root, the posterior root ganglion, associated with the spinal nerve, and cranial nerve, and the autonomic ganglia, which are the 2 types, sympathetic ganglia and the parasympathetic ganglia. So this is the progress, and with this I stop this video, and thank you very much for listening to that.